Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this bean stitch hat. It's made with the bean stitch. It's actually turned out super cool. I really like the yarn. I'm going to do a couple measurements on it here. And you can always make yours bigger from top to this, from the center here, circle ring, down. It measures about 7¼ inches. 7½ probably. And then across the puff stitches it measures about 9½. So we're gonna go ahead and do a gauge here to make sure you get the right size hat here. We'll gauge the puff stitches. So I got 5 puff stitches right there equals 3 inches on mine. And then if we measure it this way, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 puff stitches up and down equals 3 inches. Okay? So it's going to be 5 this way for 3 inches and 8 this way for 3 inches. So if you gauge your projects, that'll help you out. And I did a little swatch here if you want to gauge by single crochet. Mine is 12 single crochets equal 3 inches across, and then it's 12 rows of single crochet equals 3 inches vertical up and down. So there's your gauge, maybe to help you out with your hat sizing. But otherwise, I think it turned out pretty cool, so let's go ahead and get started on it. Okay, for this project, I am using a Red Heart Super Saver Ombre, which is a 100% acrylic medium 4-weight yarn. Now, you don't have to use this yarn. Any 4-weight yarn will work. There are 482 yards in this skein, and one skein will be plenty to make the hat. And the color that I am using is called Hickory. And then I'm going to be using a size J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. And as always, I want to take a second to ask you not to forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you check in the description box of this video or any of my videos, you'll see a automatic subscribe link. Just go ahead and click on that link. You'll automatically be subscribed and you'll never miss any of my updates. So you want to go ahead and start with the slip knot on your hook. And then we're going to work a chain of 4. And now we're going to go right back into the very first stitch, and we're going to slip stitch, and we're going to form a little ring. Just like that. Now we're going to chain 1, which does not count as a stitch. It does not count as anything. So we're going to be working our bean puff stitches through the center of the ring. And we want to work 6 of them. So I'll show you how they're made. First off, we're not going to yarn over. We're going to go into the loop or into the ring and draw up a loop. Now we're going to yarn over and go into the ring and draw up a loop. We want to do that 3 times. So that's 1, yarn over, go in, draw up a loop. That's 2, yarn over, go in, draw up a loop. That's 3 times. And now you have a total of 8 loops on your hook. You want to yarn over and go through all 8 loops, and then chain 1, just like that. And we're going to do it again. Remember, you do not yarn over the first time. So to go in, drop a loop, then we're going to yarn over, go in, drop a loop 3 times. So that's 1, 2, and 3. 8 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through all 8, and then chain 1. Again, you can keep pulling them over if you need to, sliding them over. We start off, just go right in and draw up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over and go in and draw up a loop 3 times. That's 1, 2, and 3. 8 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through all 8 loops, and then chain 1. So we got 3 puff beans made. We want to do a total of 6. So I'm going to go ahead and do another one. Eight loops, yarn over, go through all 8, and chain 1. There's 4. So I'm going to go ahead and keep repeating that until I get my 6 puffs made. Okay, I made it to the end of round 1 here, and I have my 6 puffs. I went ahead and chained 1 after my last one, so I'm going to go ahead and end with a slip stitch into the side of my first puff. So if you look, it's right about here, kind of right in the side of it. Doesn't have to be exact, but right there in the side. Go ahead and slip stitch to end. Like that. And now you can pull your tail, and it'll usually close up that circle a little bit more. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. We turn our work every time. Now we're going to go right back into that same spot right here that we slip stitched into, and we're going to work 2 of the puff bean stitches into that same spot. So remember, we don't yarn over at first. We just go straight in and drop a loop, and then we yarn over and go in and drop a loop 3 times. So it's 1, 2, 3, 8 loops, yarn over, go through all 8, chain 1. Now we're going to go right back into that same spot again, so you might have to slide that puff over and do another one. So go in, drop a loop, and then yarn over, go in, drop a loop 3 times. Eight loops, yarn over, go through all 8, and chain 1. Now we're going to jump in between the next 2 puffs, and if you pull them apart, you'll see this little hole, this little spot where you need to go into. It's on the side of this next puff. So right there, you need to work 2 puffs into that spot right there. Eight loops on your hook, yarn over, go through all 8, chain 1, go back into the same spot, work another one, and chain 1. Now we're going to work again 2 puffs into the next side of the next puff. So just find your next 2 puffs, pull them apart, and you'll see right there where you need to work into. So go right in there and work 2 puffs. Chain 1, go back in and work another one. Yarn over, go through all 8 loops, and chain 1. Now I'm just going to repeat this pattern of working 2 puffs in that side stitch of every puff all the way around back to the beginning. Okay, I've come to the end of round 2, and now you'll have 12 puffs. Now you want to go ahead and end again by slip stitching into the side of this first puff here. So kind of go right in the side like that and slip stitch just like that, and that'll end round 2. Round 3 we're going to chain 1 and turn. Remember, we always turn our work. So we're going to go right back into this very first stitch right here and work 1 puff into this little spot right here, the same spot that we slip stitched. So we're only going to work 1 puff into this spot. Now the next spot, pull these 2 puffs apart. We're going to work 2 puffs into that spot. So right here, you go ahead and work 2 puffs. So there's 1, go back into the same spot and work another. Just like that. Now the next spot is going to be 1 puff. So right here on the side of this puff, we're just going to work 1. That. And then the next one is going to be 2 puffs. So that's the repeat now for round 3. Go back in and do another puff into that same spot. Just like that. So the next spot will be 1 puff, and then the next spot will get 2 puffs. Then 1 puff, then 2 puffs, all the way around, back to your starting point. Okay, I've made it to the end of round 3, and you should have 18 puffs now. You should have ended with 2 puffs into your last stitch. Make sure you chain 1 after that last puff, and again we're going to end with the slip stitch right here into the side of this first puff. And we're going to chain 1 and turn in round 4. We're going to start by putting 1 puff right here back into that same spot that we just slip stitched into. And then we're going to put 1 puff into the next one. So right here into the side of the next puff, just 1. Now the next one's going to get 2 puffs. So right here into the side of this next puff, we're going to put 2 puffs into that same stitch there. And that's kind of the repeat now. So we'll put 1 puff into the next stitch. One puff into the next. And then 2 puffs right here into the next. One, go back in and do 1 more. just like that. So I'm going to repeat that pattern all the way around. It's 1 puff, 1 puff, 2 puffs, 1 puff, 1 puff, 2 puffs, all the way around until you get back to your starting point. Okay, I have made it to the end of round 4, and your last stitch should have had 2 puffs in it. And we're going to go ahead and end by slip stitching into the side of here of this first puff. Should have 24 puffs. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Round 5, we're going to start off with a puff into our very first spot here. And then a puff into the next stitch here in the side of the next puff. And then we'll do a puff into the side of the next one right there. So what we have done was 3 puffs in a row, and now our next spot we'll put 2 puffs into the same stitch. Go back in and do one more. And that's kind of the repeat for round 5. It's going to be 3 puffs and then 2 puffs into the same stitch. So we're going to do 1 puff, 1 puff, 1 puff, 2 puffs. Again, 1 puff, 1 puff, 1 puff, 2 puffs, all the way around until we make it back to our starting point. Okay, I've made it to the end of round 5. You should have 30 puffs. Now we're going to go in and end by slip stitching into our side of our first puff. And now we are not going to be doing any more increasing. So round 6 is the repeat round for most of the hat until we get to the brim. So what we're going to do is chain 1 and turn. And we're going to go ahead and put 1 puff right back into this same stitch. Just like that. And now it's just 1 puff in the side of every puff all the way around. No more increasing. It's just 1 puff in every stitch. Go to the next one right here. And the side of the next one. And the next one. Oh. And we're just going to continue putting 1 puff in the side of every puff all the way around until we get back to our starting point. Okay, you want to repeat round 6 for a total of 16 rounds, and that's counting round 1. So round 1 to 16, you repeat round 6 till you hit round 16. Now, I just finished round 16 and I still have my 30 puffs. I slip stitched into my first puff. Now I'm going to do a brim of single crochet. So you want the right side of your work facing you. If you happen to be on this side right now, if you didn't do anything wrong, if you are, just turn your work. If you're on the right side already, you don't need to turn your work. So with the right side facing you now, go ahead and chain 1. We're going to go right back into that same stitch and single crochet. So we're single crocheting into the side of that puff. Now I'm going to single crochet in the top of the puff. So right here into this spot, you single crochet like that. And then again, right here into the side of this puff. And then into the top of the puff. So right here. And in the side of the puff, right here. And then into the top of it. And this is what we're going to repeat all the way around. Single crochet in the side. And then right into the top. The side. And then the top. And you want to repeat this pattern all the way around until you get back to the beginning. Just like that. Okay, I have made it around, and that was the end of round 17. And you should have 60 stitches. Now we're not going to be turning our work anymore. We're not going to slip stitch into our first single crochet either. We're going to use a stitch marker. I'm just going to use this piece of yarn, and I'm going to put it right here. That way I know where I end and where I begin. Now I'm going to jump over to the first single crochet we made, not that chain one, but the first single crochet, and I'm going to single crochet into it. And then I'm going to work around, putting one single crochet in every stitch. So we're starting on round 18 now. It's just one single in every stitch, all the way around until you get back to your stitch marker. Okay, I made it back to my stitch marker at the end of round 18. I'm going to go ahead and move my stitch marker up, and I still should have 60 stitches. And then now I'm going to go around again. Just repeat that round again. Jump over, and it's just one single crochet in every stitch until I get back to my stitch marker. We're on round 19 now. Okay, I made it back to my stitch marker at the end of round 19. Pull my stitch marker up, 60 stitches still. Now I'm just going to continue doing rounds just like this. We're on round 20 right now until I get the brim on my hat as big as I want it to be. And you can do yours for as many rows as you want. But every time you make it back to your stitch marker, you want to go ahead and move your stitch marker up. And you'll have 60 stitches, and this continue around again. Just like that. Okay, I went ahead and did 21 rounds, but remember, you can do more if you want. And I just moved my stitch marker. Now what I'm going to do is slip stitch into the next stitch. And I'm going to clip my yarn. And now I'm going to hide any remaining tails that I have. Alrighty, that's it. That's all there is to it. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already, remember about that auto subscribe link. That's in the description box. Don't forget to check out all my other tutorials too. I have hundreds of them. And until next time, have a good day.